नमस्ते गुरुजी। जय गुरुजी महाराज। जय गुरुजी सात्संगत जी। On behalf of multilingual global Sevadar team with folded hands, we are thankful to Guruji Maharaj for enabling us organizing Seva. Today we are fortunate to have with us Seema Gill ji, who will be sharing her journey with Guruji Maharaj. Sangat ji, as we all know, we wish to deepen our connections with Guruji Maharaj. We look forward to hearing your blessings and experiences. Seema Gilji, Jai Guruji, over to you.
Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji Maharaj. With utmost gratitude, I commence my satsang today. Shukrana Maharaj for these blessings, this opportunity to sing your praises. Maharaj always said, start right from the beginning, and I'm going to try and do justice to that. My first hearing of Maharaj's name was way back in 2018. I was particularly distraught at that time. I was heartbroken, actually, because I'd lost my mum in 2016. My mum was a big Shiv Bhakt, and all our growing years, all I saw, all we saw, was her praying diligently and ardently to Lord Shiva. It's not a surprise then that just weeks before she passed away, she had told me that Lord Shiva is the greatest, and that I should read a couple of books, commercial books about Lord Shiva, but describing him. So little wonder that when Mum did pass, I was searching for Lord Shiva. And that is when the first mention of Guruji Maharaj happened. In a very sort of informal setting, a friend came over and asked about the distress that I was going through, also because 4/5 of my family was in England at the time and I was away from them. So it had all built up to a really terrible time in my life. And so as we spoke, she said, why don't you chant Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai, Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. And it's quite uncanny that as she was speaking those words, I was actually typing it all over my phone, almost as if to save it. And I came across a couple of Facebook groups, probably the most optimized ones that came up with typing this. And I joined those Facebook groups. It was very unlike me, but I joined a couple of those. And for the next 14 days, it continued to bring me messages. Not that I was looking for any messages, not that I look for any messages even today, but those messages were pertaining to me so much that it was surprising. It would say things like, don't worry about your children, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about the separation from your family, that's going to be okay. And very specific to the circumstances in my life. And Shukrana Maharaj, that you granted me that entry into your space, even if it was briefly, because we're not far-sighted. I certainly wasn't. And in fact, my able brain came in the way of my spiritual journey then. Because what ended up happening is after about 14 days of getting these messages, I very quickly and promptly left those groups because my mind was telling me that these messages were applicable to everybody and their sons. So unfortunately, that start of that journey was cut short because Maharaj hadn't ordained my time. It's certain that at that point of time, he had already been guiding and, looking after me. He'd been guarding me from all the worst things that could have happened than those that were already happening. So it's only now, in hindsight, that I realize that Maharaj, you were always holding my hand and you were always looking after us, even though it didn't feel like it at the time. But Shukrana Maharaj, Anantam Shukrana for that. So going forward in 2021, was the first time that I attended a satsang in my vicinity, and that came shortly after absolute catastrophe of a news in my life. And that catastrophe was the finding and diagnosis of cancer, stage 4, in my life. At the time, my youngest was only 5 and something years old, and the older two weren't a lot older. But so you can imagine, as a mother, all I thought was, what will happen to my children? They'll never get a mother. My husband might find another wife if I died, but what will happen to my children? And those worries weighed my mind. And I'm grateful that at that very juncture, after my first chemotherapy, when I'd lost all my hair, Maharaj invited me to his satsang in a very beautiful darbar. All darbars are beautiful, but this one particularly struck a chord with me because a lot of things happened during that satsang. For starters, the satsang was during COVID protocol, so only a limited number of sangat were there. Secondly, as I walked into the darbar and I looked at Maharaja's Swarup, which was right ahead of me with the most glorious smile, I felt so good. And I remember having almost uh, a clear voice in my head, which I couldn't describe at the time. I didn't really understand it at that time, but I know that it was almost me talking to myself, but it was like a voice. It's hard to explain, but of course, shortly after, as my journey continued, I began to understand that was Maharaja's telepathic message to me. So, it is very important to understand that at this time I was not sold to the idea of Guruji because I was already quite skeptical. I was definitely one of those children of Maharaj that had their brain with them. I didn't leave them out with my shoes. I didn't leave my brain out with my shoes. I was very conscious and aware of what I was doing. I was also skeptical about the fact that I'd heard that in Maharaj's satsangs, the langar is shared between 4 people. And I wasn't worried that I'd share it. I was worried that I may not be able to finish my langar prasad because of having had chemotherapy. I might feel sick and so on and such. But the beautiful, wonderful Sangatji that had invited me over or had thought of me for receiving blessings told me that during COVID there was no sharing of thalis, and she would request the Sevadas to apportion my sort of blessings on my langar thali to be done in a manner that I could finish it, and if for any reason I couldn't, I could take it home. Sangatji, I cannot explain to you how wonderful I had felt that day, despite the agony, the excruciating pain that I experienced post chemotherapy. I was in awe of where I was. It felt very divine. I was looking around a lot. I was truly distracted. I was hopping from one thigh to another, trying to shift positions, trying to be more comfortable. But I kept looking at everybody, listening to the Shabad Gurbani. I remember feeling extremely, extremely calm within myself. And I do remember the 2 voices in my head that day, or the 2 voices or telepathic messages that Maharaj sent to me were, the first one was when I'd looked at his Swarup, he had said to me, "So what if you're bald? I too don't have any hair." So that was a sweet message that definitely put a smile on my mouth. And I was like, what does this mean? Why am I even talking to myself in Punjabi? Because the message came through very clearly in Punjabi. And the second thing was that as I got up to go at the end of the satsang, the host was still sitting down and she looked up at me and she said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Well, I'm suffering from cancer and I'm undergoing chemotherapy. I've had my surgery." And she was basically like, "Don't worry, it's going to be all right." I was only given 13 hours to sort all my affairs out. I had a tumor in my brain, and look at me. I'm in front of you today and you're going to be all right. It was almost a very strong, dismissive manner in which she actually said what she said to me. And it was very strange to hear that she said it very emphatically. And so I received it. Of course, the comprehension was to come much later because, our minds do try to comprehend and our minds revisit the places that make us feel good. And I was in my mind thinking about returning to satsangs. And I did attend satsangs subsequently. And as time went on, because the time wasn't ordained yet, even now, Maharaj had put the cassette in my brain, but he hadn't pushed play. And it was his timing, it was never going to be mine. So time went on, and I kept on going to satsangs, but I think the attachment hadn't yet come. It was yet to come. And that, too, Maharaj had prescribed. The timings were already pre-written. And all the way away from home, many, many, many million miles away, Maharaj put me in front of his darbar again. A beautiful darbar in a country that I would have never imagined satsangs happen. It was a predominantly Islamic country, and Maharaj's zikr had already happened 2 other times prior to this, what I think was my final calling. And I'm so utterly grateful, Maharaj, that you blessed me with the understanding to finally attach myself. I say it wasn't my will that I got attached, it was your will. And I thank you, Maharaj. I'm utterly grateful. So, what happened that December evening, very late that December evening in 2022, exactly, well, just over a year after I was first told and after I first visited Maharaj's very first satsang, what happened at that darbar was incredibly awesome. It was incredibly connective. It was very authentic. It was an extremely small gathering of perhaps 8, at the most 10 people. And I was able to listen pretty much one-on-one because most of the Sangat had dispersed to do seva, being as there was such a small number of people. And perhaps me and a couple of other people sat there listening to the satsang of Maharaj's utterly blessed Sangatji, who had the privilege of spending time with Maharaj while he was in his chola. And as the satsangs continued, my vision, the horizon of my spirituality broadened, and no wonder that by the end of that evening and all of that night, I couldn't sleep. I was just in awe. I kept on trying to find as many satsangs of the lady that I'd heard, as well as other Sangaji that had been attached with Maharaj over the years that Maharaj was in his chola. I made the blunder, and I've never since. I made the blunder of challenging Guruji because some of the satsangs that I'd heard were pertaining to how Maharaj always is with you and how, especially on a flight, if you ask him to come along with you, he does. So we all took a pew, my children and me, and on my right was a chair, a seat that wasn't occupied at this moment. I put my bag down, I pulled out the tray. I put Maharaja's Swaroop that I had obtained from the satsang over my bag, and I sat there challenging Guruji to say, Maharaj, saath chalo. And I remember shortly prior to boarding, we'd been asked to actually put our bags, even our cabin bags, into check-in because the flight was full. That's what I had been told, or considerably full. And as people strolled in, put their baggage away, or looked around for seats, I was almost hoping somebody would come sit down. That was the ugliest challenge I could have put down. And the most beautiful turnaround happened. And that was Maharaj coming with us. Nobody except Maharaj sat on that seat. Shukrana, Maharaj. क्षमा चाहती हूँ. We keep on making mistakes. And to this day, I make mistakes. But one thing that I've understood in my journey henceforth is that Maharaj constantly gives you the consciousness to look over and verify the actions that you did that day, sometimes even seconds later, to remind you, as he's giving me a thought now about something I did earlier, or I should have done earlier, but a verification of what you do during the day and how your actions have repercussions and how that becomes your karmic debt, that becomes your karmic baggage. And I often say this, I don't even know what I did today, or at least in the beginning of the journey, I didn't know what I did this day that was, giving me a minus balance in my life. So how would I ever fathom what I did in my last lives? How would I ever know? He's all knowing. He's all forgiving, providing, there's a provisor, providing I continue to learn like he's teaching. And somebody beautifully said that we follow Guruji, but we don't follow his instructions. So as one of his devout, hopefully not a failed student, but certainly in kindergarten still, I hope that I continue to learn and put to use all the lovely teachings that Maharaj has been giving me and us. I want to move on to talking about a beautiful two-part satsang of myself and my daughter. So back in the day, somewhere over the years, I'd read in a book that if you or anybody in your family has been ill or is to be ill, the tree outside your house would never grow. Once I was diagnosed with cancer, I'd kind of surmised that that was a problem with the tree outside my home. Having been planted way back in 2010, it had not still grown. It hadn't grown leaves. It was a big, tall, 5-foot lanky tree with 2 arms, very gingerly, very sort of odd looking tree with one sort of coffee bean brown sort of seed that would hang off of it every sort of spring, summer. Every fall it would be bare. And every time I looked at it, was a reminder that what the book had said was right. Fast forward to shortly after we had started to go to Maharaj's satsangs, and my children, especially my youngest, had a better understanding of Guruji Maharaj. In fact, Maharaj had also blessed her when we hadn't connected with Guruji way back when she was 5.5 years old, just going into early kindergarten classes. That's a satsang for another day, but when she was 8.5 years old, when I was already sick, and there was an upcoming travel. And I remember one morning, shortly before we were to travel, she woke up and she said to me, Mummy, she knew that's now called Maharaj's Dream Darshan. She'd had Maharaj's Dream Darshan. And in that Dream Darshan, the tree outside our house was massive. It was ginormous. Maharaj, too, was a very, very large being. And he stood against the tree, she said, Mummy, and he had his hands folded in a cross, and he was looking towards our house upstairs where I was with the dog looking out of the window. Mummy, and I said to her promptly, I said, was he smiling? Because in her first dream, Darshan Maharaj had been smiling, and I was just sort of offering cues to understand more. And she said, Mummy, no, Maharaj was very serious. And I know it was Maharaj, but he was in spirit form. And he was serious and he was looking. And then I said, what were you doing then? And she says, I was looking out of the window and then I fell. What does this mean, Mummy? What does this mean? And I said, I dare not comprehend the meaning of this dream. But what I can tell you is that you are being guarded. We have a protective cover around us, that Maharaj was here. Whichever form he was in, he was there for us. And that's all we need to know. And I dare not try and comprehend anymore. The next morning, the same morning of the dream darshan that she'd had, I came down, and now, for the second time running, the tree outside our house hadn't been growing. So the first time around, they had come some 5 or 6 years after it was first planted and removed it, roots and all, and everything with it. This time around, when I came down and outside the house, I saw that the tree had been severed. And this time around, they left a stump. They didn't take it roots and up. They just left I'd say maybe a 3-4 inch stump in the ground. I looked at it and I immediately knew, you know, I said, Shukrana Maharaj. Not only did you give this dream darshan to my youngest, but you've also literally cut away some very big obstacle or a big trouble that was yet to come to us. I am certain, Maharaj, this is your doing in collaboration with the dream darshan that you gave to my daughter. Shukrana, Maharaj. And of course, little did I know that a lot of that comprehension would automatically unfurl as time went on. So shortly after this satsang, this dream darshan, we left to go to India, and we were meant to be traveling for the best part of 2 months. For some reason, now I understand why, because if I had come back after 2 months, I wouldn't have been, that would have been fall, that would have been autumn, all the leaves would have already shed. Excuse me. All of those leaves would have already shed. My apologies, Sangaji. All of those leaves would have shed, and Maharaj needed to show me what I needed to see. And so, very promptly, Maharaj brought me back. And as I pulled over in front of my house, I saw, I'd say, a 3 to 4 foot tall bush full of bright green leaves, and exactly in the same spot as the tree used to be. And I looked at it and I thought, well, that's odd. A weed has grown in 3 weeks. But my mind, I think my intuitive mind was telling me something else was cooking. And I also wondered, I'm like, did the city come and plant a bush instead of a tree? Well, that's not a fair trade. Why would they do that? Just then, a very green-thumbed neighbor of mine was out, and I called her name and I said, can you quickly come and verify if this is a weed? Because if it is, I'm going to pull it up. I don't want the whole front yard covered in weeds. She came and she said, well, it doesn't look like a weed. And I said, does it not? She said, no, it doesn't look like a weed. It is very much a plant. And she said, I suspect it's the same tree as the one that you used to have. And I said, how do we know that for sure? Because Sangaji, I had never seen any leaves on this tree. So what I ended up doing, what she thought of, her brainwave, was to quickly pick a tree leaf from the house next door, which had this exact same tree as ours, but had been growing healthily and steadily over the years, and it's like almost 10, 12 feet tall. We pulled a leaf off that, put it on the leaf of the bush that sat in my front yard, and lo and behold, Sangaji, it was the exact same leaf. Shukrana, Maharaj, for this blessing. Because if you knew that I thought that my life was over or my struggles were big because my tree never grew, you gave me that blessing. My second life, Maharaj, the first time of leaves on that tree for all to witness. But more was to come, Sangatji, because as we approached the season of fall, all the leaves eventually went. Every single leaf went, and what I saw in its place, and what I see even to this day as this tree continues to grow, is a three-pronged bunch of stems coming out right from this stump. And this stump is it's equally proportioned, and it looks like a Trishul, like Shivji Maharaj's Trishul. And it's a delight to see, leaves or no leaves. It's Maharaj's confirmation. It's Maharaj's confirmation that I am here. It's his blessing to say, I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here to protect you, no matter what. No matter what. Shukrana. Anantam Shukrana, Maharaj. Time went on, Sangatji, and I want to come to talking about a very, very beautiful, very sweet satsang, reminding you that Maharaj is always listening, whether you know it or not. I always like to talk about this satsang because it really, really delights my heart. Maharaj reminds me, in fact, who am I to talk? He's the one to ordain. He's the one who guides us on what he wants us to say. And so nearly always he reminds me of this satsang. It warms my heart. So again, during one of the satsangs, I had heard an old Sangatji say that when they used to go for Maharaj's chola shopping, his trousers and everything else in Gurgaon, on one such occasion, Maharaj and the group were walking, and Maharaj saw on the mannequin a very gur nila, which is, I understand, it's kind of a deep blue colored outfit on the mannequin. And Guruji promptly asked the Sangatji to go in and tell the shopkeeper to remove that and to never put those clothes on him. That color. And then also, this Sangatji had also bought a Chola Sahib for Maharaj one time. And Guruji said, Guru e rang nahi pande. And to comprehend that, it was basically to say that this color is never worn by gurus. And then she asked who should not wear this, who should not wear this color. And they said that Guruji said that anybody who listens to this message should not wear it. Whoever listens to it, they will be blessed if they don't use this. So, in exact translation of what Maharaj said. So, basically, this color should not be worn. So now, as I was going to, Maharaj used to say, when you think of him, when you're applying your lipstick, that is real love for Guruji. That is real love. When you're thinking of him every day, going about the chores of your house, that is true love, and that is true Shraddha, and that is true prayer. So somehow, as I was applying my eyeliner, which from the age of 13, I have used this particular eyeliner. It's blue in color. It's quite a stark blue. And I've always worn it. And as I was going ahead and applying that, and I suddenly had a sort of a trail in my head, and I was like, okay, Maharaj, this explains it. I'm so seriously ill because I've been using this supposed color that you've refrained everybody from using. I've been using that exact color, I'm sure. That's why I'm as ill as I am, Maharaj. And so, anyway, that thought passed. I came down and I started to prepare some tea. And my husband had just returned from India. And when he was going, I had humbly requested him to go to Bade Mandir and try and get me a swaroop from there. And this was in January that year. And I remember on 26th January is the day he should have gone and got it. But anyhow, as I was making the tea, my husband approached me from behind and he had in his hand some kind of a poster roll that he was putting on my shoulder and tapping me with. And I looked at him and he was on a phone call, so I didn't talk to him. But he kept asking me to take it. And I took it and I didn't know what it was. I had no idea because he'd already told, I had no idea it was a swaroop because he'd already told me that he had been unable to go to Bare Mandir. And I was quite disappointed about that. But nonetheless, I opened this roll and lo and behold, it was Maharaj's Swaroop. And in the Swaroop, Maharaj had a white chola on, but the piping and the border of that chola was the exact same duplicate color to the one, to the eyeliner that I use. So when Maharaj had already said and exclaimed that gurus don't wear that particular blue color, and then he had endorsed almost the exact same blue color as my eyeliner. It just felt so sweet. It felt like, Maharaj, I just had a doubt in my mind, and you're so kind to clarify that so promptly. Shukrana, Maharaj. Thank you. I'm grateful. It's very likely that an eyeliner that I wore for years on end, I would have stopped using, knowing what I knew as Maharaj's hukam, that if it's not to be worn, it's not to be worn. It's not even worth a debate. So he wanted me to continue wearing it, I believe, and he clarified what I didn't know. And I'm utterly grateful, Maharaj. Thank you. Going forward, Sangatji, life has transformed in every which way. Every moment is Shukrana. And I heard some beautiful words the other day. We must not just listen to Guruji, but apply the things that he teaches us. But more importantly, Sangatji, one of the most important things for us to do is to really also thank him for the pain that we receive. It's not just about, remembering him in good times and sad times, doing our prayers in sad times, but also to be grateful for the hard times. Because one thing is certain, he already told us this. He always said this, that your difficulties, all the pains, all the troubles that you're going to experience, the tribulations in your life are reduced to 10% of what they would have been. While he was in his chola, while he was in his sakar form, while he was there face to face, he took it upon his physical body. This month is a stark reminder of that. This month and all the days of our life should be written in gratitude for all the things that he endured to come to earth to teach us, as it says in the Mahashiv Puran, to teach us what we really needed to know, to go through this life and the journey of life and death, to end this cycle of rebirth and to be forever in moksha. And that can only happen if we really comprehend the things that he tells us. And I'm no teacher, and I apologize in advance if I say anything that might hurt anybody. But what I've come to understand is it's a everyday journey of gratitude and application of the knowledge that has been so beautifully passed through generations and through Sangat that have had the absolute grace and blessing of being with Maharaj when he was on this earth. At the time, a lot of Sangat experienced a lot of miracles, blessings, and that was allocated as per Maharaj's orders. All of those blessings were as per the karmic journey of each and every individual. Us, we all have our own journey and path. We've just got to not be looking for miracles, looking for negotiations, looking for ways out, shortcuts. One thing I was afraid of doing very early on, and I still am, is to ask for anything. And that is because Maharaj says, You don't, somebody explained it beautifully recently, Sangatji. They said that, you will think according to your own capacity, your own financial, mental capacity. And if it is, I mean, for want of better explanation, if it is a car that you desire and you think of Mercedes perhaps as one of the top models to purchase, you're going to ask for that. But Maharaj had a Porsche in mind for you. Maharaj had something bigger in mind for you. And now you've just reduced that blessing because you're asking, and Maharaj, Bhole Shankar, he's ever giving. He will give. But don't ask. On the contrary, what I understood from the satsang of Sabina Kotaranti is that when Maharaj said these words, that you shouldn't ask because you know not what you want and you don't know what it is that I have to give you, she said, Maharaj, I'm always asking for things. I'm always asking for my parents to be better, my father's health and my health and everybody's health. And Guruji said, that is okay to ask for because it is health that I grant first. Certainly true in my case, because I was a spiritual nomad. I was going from door to door looking for Lord Shiva, looking for the Shiva that my mum revered and so ardently believed in and prayed to. But I wouldn't have understood any of that because, I didn't know how to go down that path. Gradually, Maharaj held my hand and brought me to a place today where I have better comprehension. I say better comprehension, not complete. And I don't think we'll ever know the complete thing. We just have to take it step by step, like kindergarteners, learning and walking ahead in the direction that we're being guided in. But to ask for help is a good thing. You can ask that because until you're well, Maharaj used to say, if you're not well enough, how are you going to pray? How are you going to be able to really attach yourself to your guru, to really believe, to really chant his name? How are you going to be able to do that if you're constantly unwell? So that Sangatji is a very big blessing to us that Maharaj has given, which is ask away, ask for bhakti, ask to be at his divine charan, ask to never be pushed away from the direction of his being, to always be at his feet, to be able to do seva like he always prescribed, to do Simran as he prescribed, to attend satsangs. And satsangs don't always have to be attended. This is a new teaching Maharaj has given me in the recent months because I keep saying, I said, Maharaj, are you taking me away from attending physical satsangs? Because I really haven't been able to attend that many. But it's because he keeps putting in my head that he explains to me, as he does to all of us, if we're only willing to listen, um, that, when you're alone, talk to me. When you're with someone, talk about me. It's so simple. And not having been able to go to satsangs that I really, really, really did want to go to, because of family reasons, it's a very stark reminder of the fact that Maharaj says that your home duties come before anything else. Your health comes before anything else as well. So there's no point compromising those things. And I've had a better understanding in the recent months. I'm Maharaj's favorite Nimbu at the moment, and he's really getting the the very last drop out of me in every way. I've endured pain, excruciating pain again. I'm having, you know, uh, issues that I need to be checked up for. But I always believe this, and I say this to everybody that even though you're enduring pain, Maharaj has taken away your final exam, your difficult tests, and given you a very easy unit test to deal with. and receive it with grace. With the grace that he gives it to you, receive it, apply it in your life, apply the love that still comes through between all of these tough times. Times can get very tough. I've cried, I've not been able to do as much seva, but he's not judging you. He's not judging you. He knows your core. He knows you inside out. He knows everything. So there's no sham. You know, if you didn't do it, or if any sangat feels that you're doing less or more of something, they won't be able to judge you. The ultimate person that you're answerable to is Maharaj. He's the ultimate. And once you understand that, everything starts to fall into place. I'm extremely compelled to talk about a few things that bother me, whether it is my place or not. I apologize in advance, but I just want to say there's a lot of hoo-ha going about the methodology of satsangs, and we must look to all Sangatji on the methods that Maharaj prescribed. It's very easy to do a glamorous satsang. This month is the month, not so many days from today, that we lost Maharaj in his physical form. Me, as do so many Sangat, believe he's still here. But it's heartbreaking to see pictures and swarups of Maharaj's last day on earth being circulated around. It is a solemn occasion, the fact that he left his physical body, but it is so important to understand that he hasn't gone anywhere. It is a trip he made to earth, I say. It is definitely something he did for us that we need to be grateful for this day, this month, and all year round and all the years ahead. And it is a solemn occasion. He must be remembered on that day in a very solemn manner, but never forgetting that he's always present, omnipresent, always there for us. And at the drop of a hat, I say, Maharaj's messages come to you if you're so much as sad or uh, enduring trouble. One way or another, through Sangatji, Maharaj continues to bless us. There are many, and Maharaj also said this. There are many Sangat that see visions, get dream darshans on the daily. There are many people who are constantly blessed, who get messages from other Sangatji. But there is also a social media viral wave of messages that are clearly written by humans, uh, with so many grammatical errors, with so many messages that are sort of not even relevant, with bringing more hate forward and talking about a lot of tantric activities, or talking about how you could be cursed and how you remove these curses. Yes, in Maharaj's time, in many satsangs, I've also heard that Maharaj said that negative energies exist. We all know that. Shivji Maharaj lived in the Shamshan. His toli, his congregation was full of all types of beings, whether it was devas, whether it was pashu, whether it was pakshi, whether it was animals, as we say, or birds, or humans and deities and all sorts, including spirits, bhoot, pret, all of that. So we're going to see all of that in the congregation on earth even today. You've just got to steer in the direction that Maharaj says. You've got to understand that these energies exist, and you've just got to steer away from these. It's easier said than done. I don't want to get into the long and short of that. But what I will say is, Maharaj always used to say, don't take anybody's negativity, right? Because it stays with you. You might try and think that you're bigger, larger, more helpful than anybody can imagine, but you're not the person that's going to fix it, because you're relying on Maharaj to fix your troubles and tribulations. So all you need to do is redirect them to Maharaj. do not take their negative energies. Try to refrain from doing that, because those energies stay with you, because Maharaj already confirmed that such energies exist. Do, as you do in satsangs and otherwise, try to light a candle. Maharaj said it takes away negativity, at least in the evening, because that's when all of these negative energies are larger at play. So, I would highly recommend that we follow the things that Maharaj already made very simple and confirmed could be done and would make our life easier. Don't look at the pomp and show of a satsang. The satsang, Maharaj said, could be just you and him, and you serving him langar prasad. It doesn't have to be elaborate. But if you do decide to do satsangs at home, and I'm definitely witness to the fact that there's so many in-home satsangs happening now all over the world, and like almost it's a huge blessing when you're traveling, because if you've not been able to attend a satsang in your home city and you're traveling, nearly always you're going to find a satsang happening in somebody's home somewhere, tens of thousands of miles from you. So that's beautiful. But try not to make this a difficult thing for everybody to achieve. I say this, when you go to a Walmart in one country, or an Asda or a Tesco or whatever it is, when you're traveling, if you go to the store in another country, you're going to find it prototypical. It's going to be a prototype. And the reason this is done is so that you have ease, a convenience in the way that you're looking for what you're looking for, and to be able to find it. Understand that there is a protocol, there's a prescription on how the satsangs must be done. Early in the day, and Maharaj had already started those from Gurgaon, uh, under the caretaking of so many of his beautiful old sangat. And so there is a method. And if you were to follow that, that goes mostly in the direction of blessing for you. If you then concentrate on having larger backdrops, having massive flower decorations, which inevitably just get wasted when they dry up within days, or if you're like just too focused on how many dishes you're serving, then it defeats the purpose of the simplicity of the satsang and the real purpose of receiving those blessings. Maharaj said that even devtas cannot enter a satsang without my permission. And while you're at the satsangs, you don't know who sat next to you at langar, which devi, which devta sat right next to you, is sitting right next to you, and who you'll take home with you. In other words, who will go home with you. So don't mess around with this huge blessing, or the moments of blessing that are sitting right there for you to take in your lap. You're literally giving them away by concentrating on things like focusing on other things that are unimportant, because you're showcasing this for others. You're showcasing this, of course, with the love for Sangat, don't get me wrong, but we're not doing it because of Maharaj. Somebody said to me, which Gaddi, and again, this is not to hurt anybody, but just to bring forward a theory. Somebody said to me, which Gaddi can I buy for Maharaj's satsang? And I said, do you have a chair at home? And they said, yes, but we want something very grand and this and that. And there's no harm in it. You love Guruji. We all do. And we want to do the best. But is it necessitated for the purpose of the satsang, is what you have to understand. So I say this in a very simple way. This is how I comprehend it. Could be wrong, Maharaj, Shama, Karna, if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong in comprehending this. But if Maharaj was to ring my doorbell, per se, and come home, the last thing I'm going to say to Maharaj at that moment is, I'm just going to go and find you a chair. What are you going to do? You're going to take your dupatta and you're going to clean the first most comfortable chair that you find that you can sit Maharaj on. You're going to clean that up. You're going to dust it up. You're going to quickly run and you're going to go and get him some water, and you're going to seek his blessing. And you're going to just fall to his feet and just wait for him to speak. So that's how I believe a satsang can be done. You don't really need to make it elaborate, make it simple, make it ready for Maharaj, be timely. The Sangat that you invite must know that there is a time uh, constraint. They cannot just march in when they do, especially non-Sangat that are still yet to attach with Maharaj with his hukam. But it is our responsibility. I'm also learning. I learn every satsang on what I can do better to describe to non-Sangat how they must attend a satsang. The non-usage of phones and the reasons Maharaj gave behind it. Uh, it's our responsibility when we are doing seva and satsangs to completely be focused on realigning people, Sangatji, with the utmost grace, with the utmost kindness, with the utmost politeness on what should be done so that every satsang is being run in the prescribed fashion. You know, the number of times, umpteen times that we've heard old Sangatji saying that you could literally hear a pin drop in Chote Mandir. And people were afraid to even whisper. They were afraid for Maharaj's glance for two reasons. One, because they might get told off, but mostly because they didn't want to get up and go, because Maharaj would often say, Huntu si chalo, like you need to get up and go now, or you need to go upstairs. But what I'm trying to say is, Shukrana to Maharaj that I have been, and he's just taking me back there in my vision to Chote Mandir. The blessings that Maharaj gives, do not feel unblessed if you haven't yet been able to visit Bade Mandir. Your time will come as he ordains, just as he ordains, and it'll come like a whirlwind. You won't even know it happened. But when you go to Chote Mandir, even now, you're able to really feel the vibrations of Maharaj over there, the same as in Bade Mandir, the same as in Dugri Mandir, the same as in Jalandhar Mandir. There are very, very optimally high vibrations and blessings still in the air because Maharaj is everywhere. So when you're running your satsang, believe he's already there. We focus too much on a plethora of dishes on the thali, lots of sweet. Like Kara Prasad is the biggest, utmost blessing. We've seen numerous um, footages where Maharaj is serving langar, Kara Prasad to Sangatji in massive amounts. Focus your energies on the Kara Prasad. Do try to have Shabad Gurbani playing when that is being prepared. Let the blessings that Maharaj has to give us go pouring into those, into the Charnamrit, into everything that is to be served with Maharaj's hukam on the day of the satsang. But let us not just get carried away in trying to please Sangatji. Um, I'm reminded of another very, very big satsang. I'm just going to talk about this, and then if Maharaj has anything else that he wants to remind me, I will ask for his hukum on that before I ask for agya from him. But this is to do with mantra jap, and mantra jap can be done in any method. Of course, we have the blessed mantra jap for Sabha auntie and Sada auntie, sorry, my mistake. Sada Masum auntie ji and her husband. We hear that on numerous occasions. But I think everything it's important. But mantra jap has immense power, and it's easy to forget that. But the reminder that Maharaj gave me was when we were traveling somewhere one day, and as we left from there, shortly after we left from there, we heard that one of the cable cars that we'd also been on prior that afternoon fell, and two people fell to their death. And it was a very, very sad moment. It hadn't happened in 40 years of the resort's history, ever. And this too wasn't a fault in the cable car, but actually a big piece of construction material hitting the cable car and then breaking it from its anchor, and then those two people falling to their death. So it was already very distressful to hear about that. It's very hard because while you're grateful about Maharaj granting you your life, you're also very sad about what happened to the persons that died. So we're just about set off and the skies opened. Rain started like I'd never seen before. The visibility was so poor you couldn't even see beyond the windscreen, never mind the tip of the car or the car ahead or the lights of the car ahead, nothing. It was a very frightening moment. Thankfully, Maharaj knows I would have been incapable. I would have just stopped the car in fright. My husband, very, very much more capable than me in driving, drove on. And in fact, he put his foot down on the pedal, and I was petrified. I was so afraid that we were to bang into the car ahead of us because we couldn't see anything. We couldn't see the direction of the road. It was just an assumption that we had to carry on going straight. There was hardly anything that we could align ourselves with. As we went on, all I could think of, apologies, Maharaj, all I could think of was mantra jap. And I started to chant at the loudest possible way, in the loudest possible way. I apologize, Sangatji. Sorry, Maharaj. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. And with every passing second, I have goosebumps now. The chanting was louder, as if Maharaj was pouring more power into it. And I kept doing it. And is that it's as if we were going through a funnel cloud. I'm not sure. Something that at the click of a button, by the time I had done maybe three, maybe more than that, maybe 7, 8 chants, everything stopped and it was bright sunshine and bright open skies and absolute clarity ahead of us. The sun was shining beautifully, and there was pin drop silence in the car. I looked back at the children, and it was a car full. I had a friend with us too, and I was like, what just happened? Everything stopped. It was a beautiful day like never before. No, not overcast, nothing. And then again, shortly after, the same cloud, the same rain, and the same chanting with immense faith that Maharaj was with us and watching over us, guiding us, and protecting us. And we continued to go on. And then after that, it was just clear skies. So, Shukrana, Maharaj, you're always with us. We have to believe it. It's very humbling to know that when my children are in a situation of distress or concern, the first thing that comes to their mind is Guruji, and also for happy things. So, Maharaj, it's only you that have shown them that there's an unspoken power in faith, belief, and that you have, in the sweetest of ways, also shown them that you are around them, and that upon the calling of your name, you present yourself in different ways. So I'd like to continue to share my journey, continue to share my blessings, but in keeping with time and Maharaj's hukam, I'd like to thank you all for listening. I want to say Shukrana to Multilingual Global Sevadars team for giving constant opportunities to Sangatji all across the world to share their experiences, because these are the pictures into the past These are guidances for the future. These are pathways for those that are yet to start to believe in Maharaj. Shukrana, Maharaj, for giving us those opportunities. Shukrana for bringing such beautiful Sevadas forward who are willing to do this Seva, who are absolutely selfless in their Seva. Jai Guruji Maharaj, Shukrana, Anantam Shukrana Maharaj. Jai Guruji.
Dhan Dhan Guruji Maharaj, a very divine and blissful Sangat sharing all of us witnessed, heard. On behalf of Sangat, listening to your satsangs, we are grateful for your sharing valuable and blessings from Guruji Maharaj. Your experiences nearly impacted everyone. In the coming days, all of us will like to hear your more satsangs. Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji. Let's take Agya from Guruji Maharaj. Jai Guruji,
Agya Guruji.
Shukrana Guruji.
Shukrana. Shukrana Maharaj. Agya Guruji.